Chapter 33:11. The lion-faced cultivator was not the only one who was killed. All traces of the lion-faced cultivator's existence were wiped out by the power of destiny. Other than the immortal realm experts, everyone's memories of the lion-faced cultivator quickly became blurry and then completely forgotten. The unparalleled superpower of destiny was so domineering. Heaven Su Fong paid a heavy price for killing the lion-faced cultivator with his Dharma body. The blood-evil Dharma body and the other Dharma bodies all became weak. Just even Su Fong's original body in the divine origin pool of the original realm of the Luais suddenly opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of blood. His hair quickly turned gray, and his appearance changed to that of a 30-year-old. Many of the foreign race cultivators looked at the battle space. Everyone was shocked, horrified, and confused. No matter how hard they tried, they could not recall what had just happened. Only the immortal realm experts were not affected. There were also a few powerful Daozu who could vaguely remember. Everyone trembled in fear of Su Fong's superpower. Under countless respectful gazes, Su Fong flew out of the battle dimension. Toward the battle dimension. He cupped his fists and said to the guardian of Tongtian Island, "The challenge of the 13 slave clans is over. Thank you, my lord. It's no big deal. You just delayed my sleeping time." The guardian of Tongtian Island waved his hand. "Receive." He transmitted his divine will to Su Fong. "Although you won the challenge of the 13 clans, things will not be so simple. Be careful of the immortal realm experts. Thank you for your reminder, my lord." Su Fong cupped his fists at the guardian of Tongtian Island and then teleported out of the island. Out above the 13 slave clans. Su Fong was like a peerless overlord. He said in a majestic voice, "You failed the challenge, which means that you are still my slaves from now on. Now that you have seen me, why are you still not kneeling?" Many cultivators of the 3 slave clans gritted their teeth and looked at Su Fong angrily. Some sighed unwillingly. "Greetings, my lord." The 3 slave race experts who had already submitted to Su Fong rushed over from Tongtian Island. They brought their clansmen and knelt before Su Fong. Among them, he still had 10 clans, but they all stood there with no intention of submitting. "Even now, you're still not willing to submit? Kneel, all of you." With a thought, the 10 blood talismans inside Su Fong's blood-evil Dharma body. The 10 races that refused to submit suddenly exploded with power from their fates and bloodlines, forcing them to submit to Su Fong's will. No one could resist, and they obediently knelt before Su Fong. This cultivators of the 13 slave clans were all the clan's leaders. Now that they had submitted to Su Fong, it meant that Su Fong had successfully subdued all the former slaves of the Luai's ancient race. The 13 servile races were all powerful races, and some of them even surpassed the 12 races that had invaded the human world. With these slave clans, the overall power of Su Fong and the humankind would soar by over 100 times. If he really wanted to control these slave clans, he would have to use many more methods. It would take a long time. The mist barbarian undying being shouted angrily, "Su Fong, how dare you humiliate my clansmen in front of me?" Humiliate? Su Fong smiled awkwardly and said domineeringly, "They are my slaves. How can I humiliate them? Su Fong has always respected those who respect me. They tried to betray me and steal the inheritance of the Reizegu people. Do you think I should be polite to them?" The mist barbarian undying being was furious. "You are so arrogant. Do you really think I don't dare to attack you? If you don't want to be suppressed by the eternal heavenly law, just attack me. Since you are an undying being, I have given you enough face. Don't humiliate yourself." Su Fong sneered. Now that he had completely offended the mist barbarian undying being, he didn't need to be polite anymore. The mist barbarian undying being gritted his teeth, but he didn't dare to attack Su Fong. He turned into a beam of godly light and disappeared into the void. 10. A few cultivators suddenly shouted angrily from the crowd. I would rather die than submit to a human ant. A human ant wants to enslave me? Dream on. The dozen or so cultivators flashed and teleported out of the crowd. Can't, Su. Fang didn't expect that there were still cultivators from the 13 slave clans who weren't controlled by the blood talisman. Then he understood why the cultivators from the 13 slave clans weren't controlled by the blood talisman. There were undying beings who changed their fates and bloodlines for them, so the blood talisman lost its effect on them. If I let you escape from under my nose, wouldn't that be a joke? Su Fang sneered. Strong. A powerful will of slaughter erupted and fell into the void. Some of the cultivators from the 13 slave clans had already teleported out, but Su Fang followed their auras and rolled out of the void under the impact of the killing intent. Fight him to the death. The cultivators from the slave clans roared and charged toward Su Fang. Fight me to the death? Are you qualified? Su Fang's killing intent exploded again. The dozen or so cultivators from the slave clans were all ordinary Daozu. How could they resist Su Fang's killing intent? Clang. Their Dao hearts were shattered, and their souls were obliterated. Who knew one of the female cultivators from the Mieching clan had some treasure to protect her Dao heart? Her body flashed, and she was about to teleport away again as if nothing had happened. Huh! Su Fang raised his eyebrows in surprise. Qi! This godly power shackled the female cultivator. Then Su Fang condensed his killing intent into sword qi and was about to kill her. Buzz! Buzz! His life Dharma body trembled slightly, and a great sense of crisis surged naturally. At the same time, he sensed a very familiar fate aura from the female cultivator from the Mieching clan. It was from the undying from the Qian Yuan clan. In a flash, the Destiny Dharma body performed hundreds of millions of deductions. So this is the real scheme of the Qian Yuan clan. Su Fang's Destiny Dharma body deduced and instantly understood the cause and effect. Then a ruthless gleam flashed in Su Fang's deep eyes. The killing sword qi exploded, obliterating the female cultivator's soul and all the vitality in her body. However, the undying from the Qian Yuan clan roared angrily from the sky. Su Fang, how dare you kill my concubine? I'll never forgive you. The undying from the Qian Yuan clan appeared in front of the female cultivator's body with towering anger. He waved his hand and grabbed a fetus that had just formed from the female cultivator's body. Unexpectedly, the female cultivator from the Mieching clan was pregnant with a fetus. The undying from the Qian Yuan clan looked at Su Fang and gritted his teeth. Su Fang, do you know who you killed? Su Fang's eyes were calm as he said indifferently, No, I don't. The undying from the Qian Yuan clan's eyes were burning with anger as he said coldly, This woman was my concubine not long ago, and she was pregnant with my flesh and blood. You killed this seat's concubine and killed this seat's descendant. How can this seat spare you? Many cultivators were in an uproar. Unexpectedly, the female cultivator from the Mieching clan killed by Su Fang was the concubine of an undying from the Qian Yuan clan, and she was pregnant with his child. Shwa! 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 More than 10 undying beings flew across the sky, and the guardian of Tongtian Island teleported over. After sensing the fetus's aura, the guardian of Tongtian Island raised his white eyebrows. It's really your descendant. Then he understood. He looked at Su Fang and said embarrassedly, Su Fang, you're in big trouble now. Su Fang smiled casually. Obviously, the undying from the Qian Yuan clan deliberately mixed his concubine with the cultivators from the Mieching clan and took the opportunity to escape. His goal was to let Su Fang kill him. Su Fang had killed the undying being's concubine and unborn child. This was an irreconcilable hatred. The Qianyuan clan had an excuse to propose a resolution in the Eternal Godly Palace to strip Su Fang of his rights and status in the Eternal Godly Palace. In this way, the Qian Yuan clan could attack Su Fang without worrying about the eternal heavenly law. The challenge from the 13 slave clans was just a pretense. This was a fatal trap for Su Fang. For to deal with Su Fang, he didn't hesitate to sacrifice a concubine and his flesh and blood. The Gan Yuan Undying was so vicious that Su Fang couldn't help but respect him. The 7th elder of the Tensei people looked at Su Fang with gloating eyes. Human ant, you were lucky enough to escape death last time after completing the eternal heavenly road. Let's see how you're going to escape this time. Turning to the Undying from the Qian Yuan clan, Turning Yuan ancestor said with murderous intent, "We'll fight to the death. When we suppress this human ant and attack Leisha original sector, I'm willing to lend you a hand." The Undying from the Qian Yuan clan gazed at Su Fang. "Su Fang, let's meet in the eternal godly palace. See you later." Su Fang smiled faintly and nodded to the Undying from Tongtian Island. Then he teleported to the void far away from Tongtian Island. Then the Gate of Heaven appeared in Leisha original sector. Su Fang entered the Gate of Heaven and disappeared along with the Gate of Heaven. Why is this boy still so fearless when he's about to face a disaster? The guardian of Tongtian Island was puzzled by Su Fang's nonchalance. He could not figure out why Su Fang was so fearless. He shook his head and returned to Tongtian Island to sleep. "Thank you, Lord Lunjuan. Without your help, how could I make this female practitioner pregnant with my child?" Turning Yuan ancestor of the Qian Yuan clan transmitted his divine thought. Wheel Turning Origin ancestor snorted proudly. It was difficult to use the great Tao of reincarnation to impregnate that woman with your flesh and blood. I spent a lot of effort, but it was worth it to kill that human ant. The higher the level of life, the harder it was to reproduce. No. Rotten great beings were supreme beings, and the chances of them having children were even lower. This was the restriction of the way of heaven on the undying great beings. Lunjuan had grasped the essence of the great Tao of reincarnation and used the great Tao of reincarnation to make that female practitioner pregnant with the undying child of the Qian Yuan clan. Furthermore, it was impossible for the child to survive. It would not take long for the fetus to die in the womb. Chapter 33:12. Fellow undying beings, Su Fang killed my concubine and my flesh and blood. I'm going to the eternal shrine to make a decision. Please help me. The undying beings of the Qian Yuan clan cupped their fists at the other undying beings. Xian, after stripping Su Fang of all his rights in the eternal shrine, I'll invite all of you to attack the Leisha original sector together. We'll break through the Leisha original sector and share the inheritance of the Reizegu people. How can I miss such a good opportunity? The 7th ancestor of the Universe clan stroked his beard and laughed. The other undying beings also laughed with greed in their eyes. In their eyes, Su Fang and the Leisha original sector had become a juicy piece of meat for them to divide. Su Fang's blood evil body returned to the Leisha original sector and entered the divine origin pool to merge with his original body. This time, I'll settle all the grudges once and for all. Su Fang looked at the heaven-destroying magic conch in front of him. His eyes were filled with murderous intent as he sneered. When he killed the female undying being from the Miechin clan, his destiny doppelganger had deduced everything. He also saw through the undying beings of the Qian Yuan clan. Since, however, the Qian Yuan clan, Eternal Clan, Lunjuan Origin Ancestor, and other Immortal Realm experts had suppressed Su Fang again and again. They had even wanted to kill Su Fang and divide the inheritance of the Leisha original world. Therefore, Su Fang had taken this opportunity to completely resolve the grievances between him and the Immortal Realm expert. He didn't have the ability or strength before, but now he had the greatest reliance. Annihilate heaven-destroying magic conch. Su Fang continued to settle in the divine origin pool and integrate the formations and seals inside the heaven-destroying magic conch. No 10 years later. 1. body there was a commotion inside. He took out the Hong Meng token and a majestic voice came from it. Su Fang, come to the Eternal Shrine. There's an important matter that requires all the undying beings of the Eternal Shrine to vote on. You can't be absent. Yes. Su Fang smiled. He was finally here. However, after that, he condensed a thought and used the Hongmeng token to leave the Luai's original realm and enter the inner space of the Eternal Shrine. His thoughts transformed into a figure, and he sat down on his own futon. Many immortals had arrived from the Eternal God Palace. Many of the Undyings looked towards Su Fang, some shook their heads and sighed, some were gloating. Obviously they all knew what they were going to vote on. Su Fang, how could you kill the concubine of an immortal from the Qian Yuan clan? You even killed his unborn child? A strand of ancestor Ice Soul's consciousness also entered the Eternal Shrine. When he saw Su Fang, he immediately transmitted his consciousness to him. Someone is just trying to get rid of me, Su Fang replied. Things have gotten out of hand this time. Killing the concubine of an immortal realm warrior, especially killing his own flesh and blood, this is a death grudge. Even if the 3 royal families come forward, it will be difficult to resolve this matter. Don't worry, I have a plan. When the time comes, just do what you have to do. Don't worry about me. Be careful, Sai. He had just finished his conversation with Patriarch Ice Soul. Star Galaxy Undying of the Sky Race also transmitted his consciousness. Su Fang, why didn't you know how to be patient? It's not too late to fight the Qian Yuan clan after you become an immortal realm warrior. Now you're in big trouble. Galaxy Undying admired Su Fang very much, and he had even won a primordial heavenly treasure with the help of Su Fang. This time, Su Fang had caused a big trouble, and Su Fang was doomed. So he kindly asked Su Fang, "Thank you for your concern, my lord. Now that things have come to this, I can only take one step at a time. Boy, take care of yourself. I can't help you even if I want to." Then, the Mist Barbarian Undying's murderous voice sounded in Su Fang's mind. "Human ant, now you know fear, right? Ants should behave like ants. If you try to defy the heavens, you'll only be crushed into powder." Su Fang said indifferently, "When I become an immortal realm warrior, you'll be my first immortal realm warrior." The Mist Barbarian Undying sneered disdainfully. "How dare you be so arrogant? When we break through the Thunder Lake original realm, I'll skin you alive." About an hour later, all the immortal realm warriors of the Eternal Shrine had arrived. A purple lightning flashed and appeared on the golden futon in the center. It quickly turned into a middle-aged man in a purple robe. This man had thick eyebrows and big eyes. Not only was he dressed in a purple robe, but his hair and eyes were also purple. His aura of nothingness hid a terrifying destructive Tao rhyme of the Great Path. One look at him, and one would have a terrifying illusion of the Great Path's destruction. This man was from the Great Thunder Race, one of the 3 supreme royal races. He was the one who presided over the meeting in the Eternal Shrine. Great Thunder Race. Although his voice was not loud, it sounded like a destructive thunder in everyone's mind. Great Thunder Race. The huge Eternal Shrine suddenly quieted down. Great Thunder Race said majestically, "This time, we gathered all of you in the Eternal Shrine because Gon Tianxuo of the Qianyuan clan complained to the Eternal Shrine. He said that Su Fang killed his concubine and child, so he proposed to strip Su Fang of all his rights in the Eternal Shrine. Su Fang, do you have anything to say?" Su Fang said indifferently, "I have nothing to say." Su Fang's reply surprised all the immortal realm warriors. They thought that Su Fang would argue with all his might, but they didn't expect him to agree so easily. Gon Great Thunder Race planned to wait for Su Fang to quibble, then he would take out the hammer and humiliate Su Fang. However, he was greatly disappointed. Gon Tianxuo of the Qianyuan clan, together with the other 45 immortal realm warriors, proposed to strip Su Fang of all his rights in the Eternal Shrine and take back his Hong Meng token. Now let's start the discussion. Great Thunder Race warrior glanced at Su Fong in surprise and waved his hand to signal the start of the discussion. Then, the young man of the Qianyuan clan spoke first. My concubine finally gave birth to a child, but she was killed by Su Fong. If we punish him severely, he will dare to go against the 3 imperial families sooner or later. Then, his eyes flashed with a domineering luster, and he said in a low voice, "Please give me justice. If you agree with me, the Qianyuan clan and I will remember this favor. If you disagree with me, the Qianyuan clan and I will remember it." He dared to threaten so many immortal realm warriors in the Eternal Shrine. How arrogant and domineering he was! Luan Yuan said with a murderous look, "Su Fong is too arrogant. He took advantage of the protection of the Eternal Heaven Law to do whatever he wants. He killed the concubine of an immortal realm warrior and cut off the child's concubine. Not only should we strip him of all his rights, but we should also suppress him, pull out his tendons, and refine his soul." The 7th ancestor of the Tensei people also said, "He should be killed." I and all the immortal realm warriors of the Tensei people agree. Strip him of his rights. Kill him. He should be killed. The Qianyuan clan had made preparations in advance and contacted many immortal realm warriors. Some Undying Realm experts spoke up, and some Undying Realm experts even suggested stripping Su Fong of all his rights in Eternal Shrine and suppressing him. Soon, all the immortal realm warriors finished voting. Except for a few immortal realm warriors who had a grudge against the Qianyuan clan, Ice Soul Ancestor, and Space Race warriors who gave up voting, the rest of the immortal realm warriors all agreed with the Qianyuan clan. During the whole process, Su Fong looked at them coldly and did not say a word. The immortal realm warrior looked at Su Fong and said indifferently, "Su Fong, what else do you have to say?" Su Fong said casually, "I have nothing to say." Although he had completed the Eternal Heaven Road and was listed in the Eternal Shrine, he was not an immortal realm warrior. In the eyes of many immortal realm warriors and forces, he was just a cultivator with unlimited potential. Potential was just potential, but it did not represent strength. The most important reason was that Su Fong was a human and had no background. Although he had potential, how could a cultivator without power fight against the higher races? Weak. The strong preyed on the weak. It was the same in the mortal world, the world of cultivators, and the immortal realm warriors who coexisted with the heavenly Tao. Of course, Su Fong understood this logic. He simply couldn't be bothered to argue. Everything had to be resolved with strength. 2. The immortal realm warrior looked at Su Fong and asked in a low voice, "Do you know what the consequences will be?" Consequences? Eternal. The Eternal Shrine had no right to decide Su Fong's life and death. They could only strip Su Fong of his rights in the Eternal Shrine. However, once Su Fong's rights were taken away, he would no longer be protected by the eternal laws. Then, the Qianyuan clan, Tensei people, and other immortal realm warriors who had a grudge against Su Fong would be able to attack him without fear. Even if Su Fong hid in the Luai's original sector, the 2 higher races and other immortal realm warriors could seal the Luai's original sector. They could even break the seal and kill Su Fong and the human race. How could Su Fong not know the consequences? Su Fong. Fong stood up, his gaze sweeping through the immortal realm warriors, revealing a lofty smile. "Everyone knows the truth of the matter. I, Su Fong, won't explain anything. As for the consequences, I, Su Fong, will bear them all. As for the immortal realm experts, I, Su Fong, will not take this matter to heart. However, if any of you appear outside the original Luai's domain, you will have to bear the consequences." "How dare you? How arrogant!" Angry shouts came from the Eternal Shrine. "My lord, I've finished speaking. Please make your decision." Su Fong slowly sat down and closed his eyes, looking as calm as the wind and clouds. The immortal realm warrior from the great Thunder Clan frowned. He hesitated for a moment but did not say anything. 2. Although the Great Thunder Clan and the Reizeigu people came from the same source, the Reizeigu people had died out. Su Fang was just the heir of the Reizeigu people. He could not cancel the decision of the Immortal Realm warriors for Su Fang. Since you have made your decision, I declare that the human monk Su Fang is stripped of all his rights in the Eternal Shrine. Effective immediately. The Immortal Realm warrior from the Great Thunder Clan's voice echoed in the Eternal Shrine. 1. A divine power came from the Eternal Shrine and rolled over Su Fang. The avatar formed by the thought instantly lost its connection with the Hong Meng medallion, and the protection of the heavenly laws also disappeared at this moment. The Eternal Shrine represented the will of the Immortal Realm warriors. The decision of the Eternal Shrine deprived Su Fang of all his rights. The Hong Meng token lost its effect. Su Fang, let's see how arrogant you can be. I will let you fall into the reincarnation cycle and let you experience the pain of never being reincarnated. Chapter 33:13. As soon as the Eternal Shrine made the decision to deprive Su Fang of all his rights in the Eternal Shrine, Luan Zhuan Yuan couldn't wait to attack Su Fang. Although Su Fang had only entered the Eternal Divine Palace as a thought, the origin ancestor of reincarnation had mastered the great Tao of reincarnation. With the help of Su Fang's thought, Su Fang was doomed eternally. The Tensei people, the Qian Yuan clan, and the Mist Barbarian clan watched all this coldly, waiting for Su Fang to be unlucky. God! I'll wait for you in the original territory of Lei Zhifang's cold and embarrassed voice echoed in the Eternal Shrine. The power of fate suddenly surged out of this thought clone's body, and its body began to burn. In an instant, Su Fang's thought turned into nothing, not even leaving a trace of destiny. Origin Su Fang's thought entered the Eternal Shrine and never thought of leaving. Therefore, he sealed an energy seed condensed by destiny power in advance. When the Eternal Shrine's decision was made, he began to burn himself, causing Luan Zhuan Yuan's plan to fail. Luan Zhuan Yuan wasn't surprised, and then he snorted resentfully. Humph, I'll let you escape this time. When I get to the original territory of Leisha, I'll make you suffer. This guy is really cunning. He's prepared for this. The immortals who were waiting to watch a good show were also surprised. The decision is over. Let's disperse. Luan Zhuan Yuan glanced at Luan Zhuan Yuan coldly. Luan Zhuan Yuan attacked Su Fang in front of him, which obviously made him very unhappy. But he didn't scold Luan Zhuan Yuan. He waved his hand, and his body collapsed, turning into divine light and disappearing into nothingness. When Luan Zhuan Yuan left the Eternal Shrine, the other immortals also began to leave. The Qian Yuan clan sent out invitations to the immortals who were close to the Qian Yuan clan. Immortals, I invite you to the original territory of Leisha. When we break through the original territory of Leisha, the inheritance of the Reizeigu people will be yours. Of the many undyings who received the invitation, some accepted without hesitation, while others hesitated. The Luai's original realm was a world that the Reizeigu people had created within the heavenly Tao of nothingness. It was extremely difficult to seal it, let alone break through the Luai's original realm. Again, after all, the Reizeigu people were once the overlords of the primal chaos. How could they not have some powerful trump cards? Su Fang was unusually calm in the Eternal Shrine, which made many immortals wary of him. Hence, attacking the Luai's original domain was something these immortal realm experts had to consider carefully. Most finally, there were a total of 56 undyings that accepted the Gan Yuan Undyings invitation, including the Gan Yuan Undyings. Luan Zhuan Yuan ancestor, the Undying warriors of the Mist Barbarian race, and the Undying warriors of the 12 races who had once invaded the human world were all there. With so many undyings, it's enough to break through Leisha original domain. The inheritance of the Reizeigu people, don't disappoint me. Gan Yuan Undying Gan Tianshua's eyes were filled with greed and coldness. The The undying realm warriors that he had promised to attack the Leisure original domain were all brimming with anticipation. Leisure original domain. The moment Su Fang's thought clone in the Eternal Shrine was destroyed, his original body in the God Source pool suddenly opened his eyes. He smiled casually and sent a thought to Realm Spirit, Lord Realm Spirit. Realm Spirit condensed from the void, "What's the matter, Your Highness Su Fang?" Su Fang slowly told Realm Spirit about his plan to lure and kill the immortals. Realm Spirit exclaimed in shock, "Your Highness Su Fang, you're so bold. You're planning to use the heaven-destroying magic conch to kill more than one immortal realm expert." "I was forced into a dead end, so I had no choice." Su Fang smiled embarrassedly. Then he showed a lofty expression, "Which great being, which force doesn't have rivers of blood and piles of bones on their way to rise? I'm going to step on the bones of those immortals and lead the human race to rise among the thousands of races in the chaos. In the future, those immortals and the upper races will tremble when they hear my name. Su Fang. Ambition, scheming, domineering, and ruthless. No wonder you can become the inheritor of the Reizegu people." Realm Spirit exclaimed. After thinking for a while, Jia Ling reminded him, "Your Highness Su Fang, as long as you can activate the heaven-destroying magic conch and awaken the heaven-destroying will, you can easily kill the immortals who coexist with the heaven Tao. However, this is definitely risky. Please tell me, Lord Realm Spirit. First of all, you have to have the ability to activate the heaven-destroying magic conch. How much has Your Highness Su Fang integrated with the heaven-destroying magic conch?" 9 levels. And I'm sure that before those immortals attack the Leisure original realm, you can completely integrate with the heaven-destroying magic conch. Then I'm relieved. The Leisure original realm is in the heaven Tao. Your Highness Su Fang hasn't become an immortal yet, so you can't stay in the ethereal heaven Tao. If you want to kill those immortals, you can only lure them into the Leisure original realm. It's like luring bandits into your home. Even if you can kill all the bandits, your home will be damaged. Ling explained to Su Fang. Leisure original realm. The Leisure original realm existed in the ethereal heaven Tao. If Su Fang wanted to kill those immortals, the only way was to lure them into the Leisure original realm. The only way for those immortals to attack the Leisure original realm was to integrate with the Heaven Tao and use the Heaven Tao's power to infiltrate the Leisure original realm. They replaced the Heaven Tao and controlled the Leisure original realm. At that time, Realm Spirit would fully activate the Leisure original realm's power and intentionally lure those immortals into the seventh sky. This meant that the war would start in the seventh sky. The humans living in the Leisure original realm, especially the Daozu in the seventh sky, would be in great danger. Su Fang thought for a while and said, "It's okay. I'll move all the Daozu into my Tao Palace. What should we do with the many lives below the seventh sky? Those immortals' target is you. If they don't suppress you, they won't take the initiative to attack those below the sixth sky. In their eyes, those lives are just a bunch of ants. However, I can't guarantee that. If an immortals suddenly decide to do something, it'll be dangerous. We can't worry about that now." After ending the conversation with Realm Spirit, Su Fang began to prepare for the battle against the immortals. He continued to integrate with the Annihilation Magic Conch and began to move his subordinates in the Leisure original realm. Everyone, Daozu, the Leisure original realm is about to face a great war. Let's all hide in my Tao Palace. Su Fang transmitted his thoughts to Dongxian Daozu, Dark Mother Daozu, and the Daozu under their command. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. All the Daozu entered the divine origin pool. "Su Fang, what happened?" Xian Daozu asked anxiously. His Daozu's experts were also very nervous. He thought that after entering the Leisure original realm, they could sit back and relax. Oh my God! They didn't wait for long before strong enemies invaded the Leisure original realm. Could only immortals have this ability? How could these Daozu not be nervous? As long as I, Su Fong, am here, they can't do anything. Su Fong smiled casually and moved many Daozu's experts into the Dao Palace. Take after that, many Dao saints in the seventh heaven, who were preparing to attack the Daozu, were all moved into the Dao Palace by Su Fong. Whoosh, whoosh. However, the realm spirit said that nothing would happen to those below the seventh heaven. Su Fong didn't dare to be careless. With a thought, he moved all his family and friends in the sixth heaven into the heavenly Dao body's internal world. I wonder how my son is now. Thinking of Su Xianyun, Su Fong's eyes became gentle. Then, he projected his sensing power. The second heaven. Cultivators in the lower three heavens called the second heaven the immortal world. The cultivators in the second heaven were naturally immortals. At a immortal world plane called the Xing Han Immortal World. The strongest force was a sect called the Xing Han Palace, which controlled the entire Xing Han Immortal World. At this moment, in the depths of the Xing Han Palace, there were over 100 Xing Han Palace experts in front of a palace. Among them, there was a peerless immortal emperor who stood in the air with his hands behind his back. On the ground, a youth had no choice but to kneel under the terrifying pressure released by the Xing Han Palace experts. His legs were broken and blood kept oozing out, dyeing the ground red. Little Nian's cultivation was extraordinary. He was a celestial immortal. It was indeed extraordinary to have such strength at such a young age. However, compared to those Xing Han Palace experts, the youth was as small as an ant. Little although he was forced to kneel on the ground, he unyieldingly raised his head and stared at a purple-clothed girl beside the supreme immortal emperor. He gritted his teeth and asked, "Dong Zixuan, you and I once swore an oath of eternal love. Why did you trick me into the Xing Han Palace and set a trap for me?" The purple-clothed girl had a peerless appearance and noble temperament. Her skin was as clear as ice and jade, and her cultivation was at the same level as the youth. She was also a celestial immortal. Little girl. Hearing the youth's words, a trace of shame appeared in the purple-clothed girl's deep eyes. However, it quickly disappeared without a trace and returned to her cold and noble expression. She coldly said, "Su Xianyun, don't blame me for being ruthless. It's you who is too stupid to believe in such nonsense as an oath of eternal love. I'm the daughter of an immortal emperor, and what are you? You're just a cultivator who ascended from the mortal world. What qualifications do you have to be the Tao companion of an immortal emperor's daughter?" So those oaths of eternal love in the past were all fake. The purple-clothed girl's words made the youth's face filled with pain. This, the youth, was Su Xianyun. Then, the girl named Dong Zixuan smiled indifferently. "Su Xianyun, your talent is extraordinary. It's above any other genius. If you were willing to join the Xing Han Palace and give that ancient mirror to my father, you might be able to stay with me for the rest of your life. However, you relied on your talent and refused to take out the mirror. How can I continue to be with you? Dong Zixuan, now I finally understand what kind of woman you are. It's all my fault for being blind before and being blinded by your beauty." The pain on Su Xuanyun's face gradually disappeared and was replaced by an unyielding expression. Chapter 33:14. Dong Zixuan sneered indifferently. "It's too late for you to understand now. As for the mirror, I advise you to strip it off yourself. For the sake of our old friendship, I will ask my father to spare your life." "Sooner, don't waste your breath on this ant. Just strip him of his treasure," the Xing Han Immortal Emperor said indifferently. Then, he pointed his finger at Su Xianyun, and several Xian Guang fell into his body. Puff! A bloody light was sucked out of Su Xuanyun's body, and an ancient mirror was wrapped in the bloody light. "That's not an immortal artifact, but a supreme divine artifact. No, it's not an ordinary divine artifact. I've seen divine artifacts from all over the universe, but none of them had such an amazing aura." The Xing Han Palace Immortal Emperor stared fixedly at the ancient mirror, his eyes radiating a star-like brilliance. Dong Zixuan's eyes also became hale and hearty in an instant. The cold arrogance and noble aura just now disappeared at this moment, and her eyes were full of greed. The other experts of Xinghan Palace also looked greedy. Su Xianyun shouted angrily, "That's my natal treasure. You'll regret it for the rest of your life if you strip it from me." Regret? The Xinghan Immortal Emperor sneered disdainfully. "There's nothing in the immortal world that can make me regret." After that, he waved his hand and was about to grab the ancient mirror. Who would have thought? A sneer came from the ancient mirror, and then a divine power erupted from the ancient mirror and wrapped around Su Xianyun. "Who is it? No one can snatch away the treasures that have fallen into my hands." The Xinghan Palace Immortal Emperor struck out a shocking Dharma seal. A starlight fell from the ninth heaven like a river of stars and bombarded the protective divine power around the ancient mirror and Su Xianyun. Rumble! Heaven and earth shook. The Xinghan Immortal Emperor and many experts of Xinghan Palace were shaken back by the divine power of the mirror, and their bodies rolled back and blood spurted from their mouths. Starhan palaces and training grounds were shaken, and many of them collapsed, and many people lost their lives as a result. When everything calmed down, Su Xianyun and the ancient mirror had disappeared without a trace. "Find Su Xianyun and the ancient mirror for me, even if you have to search the entire immortal world." The Xinghan Palace Immortal Emperor let out a furious roar, completely losing the dignity of an immortal emperor expert. How could he have known that the owner of the voice that came from the ancient mirror was the second layer of heaven and the entire Luai's original realm? If he wanted to kill him, it would be easier than killing an ant. Even now, he still wanted to obtain the mirror. He was truly courting death. Su Xianyun was sucked into the treasure mirror's space, and he didn't know where he was now. Su Xianyun. A figure walked out from the surrounding formation. It was Su Fang's doppelganger that resided in the mirror. "Senior, thank you for saving my life." Xianyun cupped his fists respectfully. Also, it was because of the guidance of this mysterious senior that Su Xianyun was able to become a celestial immortal from a mortal in just 1,000 years. This time, Su Xianyun had saved his life again. Naturally, Su Xianyun was in awe and gratitude. "Senior?" Su Fang smiled embarrassedly, but didn't explain anything. Su Xianyun looked ashamed. "This time, I was blinded by lust and almost lost my life. I'm sorry for what you taught me. In the life of a cultivator, you must live to your heart's content. You must dare to love and hate. You are not wrong. However, on the path of cultivation, one mistake may leave behind an eternal hatred. I hope that after this lesson, you will not make the same mistake with women again." "Yes, I understand. You stay in the ancient mirror to cultivate and I will guide you. You still need to take revenge for Xinghan Palace yourself." "Humph. I, Su Xianyun, am not a weak chicken that can be trampled on by others. Xinghan Palace bullied me so much. One day, I will destroy Xinghan Palace. If the heavens want to suppress me, I, Su Xianyun, will go against the heavens." "Against the heavens?" Su Fang shook his head and smiled bitterly. He was now the heavens of the entire Luai's original realm. If Su Xianyun wanted to go against the heavens, wouldn't he disobey his father? "Su Xianyun, your future is not in the immortal world, nor in the other worlds. It's not even in this world. Your future will be much broader. I hope you can take each step steadily and go even further," Su Xianyun said. Fang gazed at Su Xianyun. When he nodded, his figure turned into nothingness and disappeared from the formation without a trace. He put the ancient mirror together with Su Xianyun in the Taoist palace. After dealing with those immortal realm experts, he would send Su Xianyun back to the second heaven. Su Fang muttered to himself, "Son, don't blame your father for being cruel and making you endure such a trial." Su Fang was the supreme ruler of the Luai's original realm. Su Xianyun was his son. What couldn't he want? However, Su Fang let his son train and explore by himself. he watched silently from the side and guided him as a senior. The path of truth had to be walked by oneself. In this life, a cultivator had to constantly take risks, challenge, and surpass the peak. If you could get anything easily without any effort, then what was the point of living? Next, Su Fang continued to settle in the divine origin pool. The formations and seals inside the heaven-destroying Dharma conch were integrated by Su Fang continuously. From 90% to 91% to 92%. At the same time, Su Fang began to integrate himself with the Edict Stone, the Supreme Battle Flag, and the Longevity Lamp. No, it was as simple as integrating the Xian Bao. But the three primordial heavenly treasures and the three corpses were integrated with Su Fang's entire body. They became a part of Su Fang. After the three corpses were integrated, Su Fang would enter the state of great nirvana. With only a little obsession in his heart, he would entrust himself to the heavenly Tao and coexist with it for eternity. No, unknowingly, Su Fang had spent another 300 million years in the divine origin pool. Outside, only 300 years had passed in the upper realm. This one day, sizzle, from Su Fang's body suddenly surged an astonishing amount of tribulation qi. Tribulation qi, the qi suddenly turned into flames. A large area was burning fiercely in the divine origin pool. It was as if it wanted to burn Su Fang and the entire spacetime together. This time, the burning of tribulation qi and tribulation fire was not an advancement. Instead, the three corpses had merged with his main body to the limit. They were about to shatter and be rebuilt. Not only was his physical body burning, but Su Fang's Tao Palace and soul were also burning fiercely. It was as if they wanted to turn everything into ashes. Under this astonishing burning, Su Fang's soul, Tao Palace, and physical body began to shake and shatter. The three primordial heavenly treasures also shattered layer by layer. Then, with the help of the burning tribulation fire and a mysterious heavenly Tao power, the shattered physical body, Tao Palace, soul, and the three primordial heavenly treasures began to rebuild and merge completely. Su Fang's three corpses also gradually merged with his main body. The obsession in the execution corpse, the good in the good corpse, and the evil in the evil corpse were also burned by the tribulation fire. The remaining obsession merged with Su Fang's main body. This process was incomparably painful. It was 100 or 10,000 times more painful than any of Su Fang's previous advancements. However, Su Fang's eyes were still calm amidst the raging tribulation fire. No amount of pain could shake his Tao heart. Su Fang took out a 9-flower jade pill and swallowed it, hastening the reconstruction of his physical body. His physical body was constantly transforming as it was being rebuilt. It was charging towards the limit of life. The pure soul power in the longevity lamp was also injected into Su Fang's soul, causing it to rapidly grow stronger. It was truly eternal and indestructible like the longevity lamp. The heaven-piercing Blood King Vine was also wantonly swallowing all sorts of pills and spiritual items. The heavenly devourer beetle spat out threads that turned into pure primordial heavenly qi to help rebuild his physical body and Tao Palace. Only his Tao Palace and primordial heavenly qi were still within the limits of the Daozu. They could not break through in a short period of time. Following, as the Qitian celestial body, longevity lamp, paragon battle flag, and the three corpses within the three primordial heavenly treasures merged with Su Fang's main body, Su Fang's aura also began to undergo shocking changes. His aura became more and more illusory. It was as if he was about to disappear from the divine origin pool and merge with the heavenly Tao. Gradually, Su Fang's physical body, Tao Palace, and soul were completely rebuilt. Su Fang also finally ended the immense pain. However, this transformation was far from over. Qi. An illusory aura surged out of Su Fang's body and disappeared into nothingness. Su Fang's consciousness also disappeared along with the aura. However, it did not truly disappear. Instead, it entered the illusory heavenly Tao. Qi. Su. Fang's consciousness traveled through the endless time and space, experiencing the endless evolution of the heavenly Tao. He wandered in the rivers of Tao where the great Taos gathered and finally reached the highest origin of life, energy, and laws. He even sensed the three supreme wills of the heavenly Tao, the heavenly Tao of creation, the heavenly Tao of destruction, and the heavenly Tao of punishment. Qi. After an unknown amount of time, or perhaps time no longer existed. Suddenly Su Fang's consciousness, which had merged with the heavenly Tao, suddenly sensed dozens of wills merging with the heavenly Tao and seeping into the Luai's original realm. It's the Qianyuan race, the Tensei people, and other forces immortal realm experts. They're attacking the Luai's original realm. Fang's heart skipped a beat. His consciousness, which had merged with the heavenly Tao, returned to his body, and he woke up. This is the immortal realm. Fang carefully recalled the experience just now. His heart was clear. He sensed both inside and outside of his body. His entire body was emitting the immortal realm aura that only immortal realm experts had. However, it was also ordinary and returned to its original state. The great primordial heavenly treasure, had completely merged with him, and become a part of him. The Ji corpse, good corpse, and evil corpse had also merged with his main body. His Tao heart was like the heavenly Tao. There was no good or evil. Qi. Su Fang was only a hair's breadth away from the immortal realm. The only thing he lacked was the accumulation of primordial energy. After I get rid of those immortal realm experts, I can start to break through to the immortal realm. Su Fang smiled slightly. The immortal realm experts of the Qianyuan race and the Tensei people are about to break through the Luai's original realm. Su Fang suddenly raised his eyebrows and sensed again. The fusion of the three corpses gave his consciousness the experience of roaming the heavenly Tao. It made his perception of the heavenly Tao extremely sharp. Chapter 33:15. There are a total of 56 undying beings. Su said. Fang merged his consciousness with the way of the heavens and sensed carefully. He found that there were 56 undying beings residing in the way of the heavens and infiltrating the Luai's original realm with the help of the way of the heavens. Although there was no earth-shattering movement, it was 100 times more terrifying than the battle between the Daozu great beings. Once those undying beings infiltrated the Luai's original realm and controlled the way of the Luai's original realm, it was equivalent to controlling the entire Luai's original realm. I've already merged 99% of the Annihilation Magic Conch. I'm just a little bit away from completely merging with the Annihilation Magic Conch, but I have enough time. Come, Su Fang, will be waiting for you at the 7th level of heaven. Fang smiled faintly and began to swallow elixirs and spiritual items to recover the huge emptiness caused by the merging of the three corpses. At the same time, he seized the time to merge with the Annihilation Magic Conch. Time passed. About 100 years. The 56 strong wills merged with the way of the heavens and infiltrated the Luai's original realm with the help of the way of the heavens. The Luai's original realm merged with the way of the heavens and the 56 wills infiltrated it, which meant that the 56 great Daos of the Luai's original realm were controlled. Although the realm spirit was unable to fully control the Luai's original realm's heavenly Tao, it was only a primordial spirit and not the master of the Luai's original realm. Whoosh, whoosh. Venerable walked out of the 7th heaven of the Luai's original realm. They were the undyings from the Heaven Yuan race and the Heaven Universe race, as well as the other undyings who were invited. There were a total of 56 of them. Their original bodies were merged with the way of the heavens, and the ones that appeared in the Luai's original realm were their thought incarnations. We've finally breached the Luai's original realm. In just a few hundred years, we've easily breached the defense of the Luai's original realm. I thought we'd have to pay a high price, but it seems like we were wrong. The Luai's original realm is just an undeserved reputation. The Luai's original realm is just an undeserved reputation. I hope the inheritance of the Reizegu people is not undeserved reputation. The undying beings were all excited. Will. Zhuan Yuan ancestor suddenly sneered. Su Fang, this brat, caused me to have a part of my power sealed by the Gold Horn clan, and also completely offended the Gold Horn clan. I will destroy the entire human race. After that, Origin ancestor Luan Huan slammed his hand into the void. Under the control of the Origin ancestor, the reincarnation Great Tao of the Luai's original realm suddenly shook and collapsed. Qi, the Great Tao of reincarnation in the Luai's origin realm, nearly collapsed. Countless souls in the state of reincarnation were instantly reduced to dust. Also fortunately, the Leisha original realm was created by more than a dozen immortal realm masters of the Reizegu people. Even Ancestor Luanzhuan could not destroy it completely. Otherwise, the collapse of the reincarnation path in the Leisha original realm would cause the heavenly Tao of the whole world to be damaged, and it would be difficult to recover. Tang the Hall of Immortal Realm didn't even let off the life of those low-level world. Luan Huan Yuan Zhu's nature of seeking revenge for the smallest grievance, as well as his ruthless means, could be seen from this. Immortal Wheel, hold on. Just as he was about to continue attacking, Gan Yuan Undying Gan Tian Shua suddenly spoke up to stop him. Wheel ancestor Zhuan scoffed, if I don't exterminate the human race, I won't be able to get rid of the hatred in my heart. Immortal Tianshua, why are you stopping me? Gan Yuan Undying Gan Yuan clan said, we are attacking the Leisha original realm, this time, not only to kill Su Fang, but also to obtain the inheritance of the Leisha original realm. If Luanzhuan Yuan Zhu attacks now, if the Leisha original realm collapses and destroys the inheritance of the Reizegu people, wouldn't the gains outweigh the losses? After we kill Su Fang and find the inheritance of the Reizegu people, you can do whatever you want with the humans in the Leisha original realm. Fine, let's capture Su Fang first. Don't be in a hurry to kill him. I want him to regret being born. Luanzhuan Yuan Zhu snorted coldly and stopped. The Tensei people's seventh ancestor laughed. We have already attacked the Leisha original realm. Su Fang is already a turtle in a jar. Where can he escape to? Even if he escapes into the chaos, how can he escape the pursuit of the immortal realm masters? He wanted to sense the existence of Su Fang. From the void came Su Fang's voice. I said I would wait for you in the Leisha original realm. Now that you are here, how can I run away? The godly power of the Leisha original realm rolled out a figure. It was Su Fang. It was not a doppelganger formed by thoughts, nor was it a doppelganger. It was his original body. Su Fang, you are finally willing to show up. Gan Yuan Zhu sneered. The Yuan race Undying sneered, and the other Undyings all looked at Su Fang. The Tensei people's immortal realm godly light rolled on Su Fang. That human's aura. He has already stepped into the immortal realm. He is only one step away from the true immortal realm. His Daozu was also shocked. Gan Yuan Zhu, the Yuan Undying Gan Yuan Zhu's eyes were filled with joy. Fortunately, we entered the Leisha original realm in time. Otherwise, I don't know how much effort it would take to kill him, let alone get the inheritance of the Reizegu people. Indeed. Serves him right for having such a bad fate. He's about to become undying, yet he's about to die. The immortal realm masters all felt lucky. Su Fang was able to complete the Eternal Heaven Road, which was enough to prove how amazing his potential was. Once he became an immortal realm master, he would definitely not be an ordinary immortal realm master. He would be above all the immortal realm masters present. By then, it would be impossible to kill him. At most, they could only seal him. Lan the barbarian Undying Gan Yuan Zhu sneered. Su Fang, if you hand over the inheritance of the Reizegu people now, I will spare your life. Let me live. Su Fang sneered. If you let me live, Will the other undying fighters let me live? Lan asked. The barbarian undying Gan Yuanzhu was speechless. No. In terms of power and influence, the mist barbarian undying Gan Yuanzhu was not the top. How could he make the decision? Except, Su Fang said in a lofty voice, besides, the mist barbarian undying Gan Yuanzhu is nothing but a slave of the Reizegu people. How can you be so arrogant in the Leisha original realm? He glanced at the 56 immortal realm masters coldly, as if he was looking at corpses. Then he said in a voice filled with killing intent, not only the mist barbarian undying Gan Yuanzhu, I, Su Fang, said that all the immortal realm masters who entered the Leisha original realm would be killed by me. How dare you try to kill me and divide the inheritance of the Reizegu people? How ridiculous! Apart from the mist barbarian undying Gan Yuanzhu and the other 5 immortal realm masters from the 13 slave clans, the other immortal realm masters couldn't help but laugh. They looked at Su Fang as if they were looking at a lunatic. Immortal realm masters existed together with the heavenly way. Unless it was the 3 wills of the heavenly way, even the 3 supreme royal families couldn't kill an immortal realm master. At most, they could only seal him in the heavenly way. Su Fang, although Fang was only a step away from becoming an immortal realm master, he wasn't an immortal realm master yet. How could he say that he would kill 56 immortal realm masters? How ridiculous! The mist barbarian undying Gan Yuanzhu said in a deep voice, "Be careful, everyone. The Reizegu people are more powerful than we thought. Su Fang must have something to rely on since he's so confident. Don't be careless." The immortal realm masters from the 13 slave clans also showed fear and respect in their eyes. They still remembered the power of the Reizegu people. Lunzhuan Yuanzhu sneered disdainfully. You must be used to being slaves to the Reizegu people. How could you be so scared by the arrogant words of a Daozu? The mist barbarian undying Gan Yuanzhu and the other 13 slave clans all looked ashamed. Su Fang looked at Lunzhuan Yuanzhu and said indifferently, "You once sent people to try to destroy the human race. You controlled my master's reincarnation and attacked me on the Eternal Heaven Road. This time, you attacked the reincarnation of the Leisha original realm. The first immortal realm master I killed was you." Lunzhuan Yuanzhu laughed. "I'm right here. What do you have to kill me?" With this, Su Fang turned his right hand, and a Xian Guang rolled out of his palm. Xian in the light, there was a black treasure that looked like a conch. That's heaven-destroying magic conch. There's a heaven-destroying magic conch in the Leisha original realm. This knowledgeable immortal realm master trembled when he saw the heaven-destroying magic conch. He couldn't help but want to run away. Most immortal realm masters had never heard of the heaven-destroying magic conch, and they didn't know how powerful it was. They were all confused. The mist barbarian undying Gan Yuanzhu asked in surprise, "What kind of treasure is the heaven-destroying magic conch? No matter how powerful a Hongmeng heavenly treasure is, can it kill an immortal realm master?" The heaven-destroying undying Gan Yuanzhu stared at the heaven-destroying magic conch and said in a trembling voice, "Think about it carefully. What does destroy the sky mean? The will to destroy the sky?" The barbarian undying Gan Yuanzhu's divine light changed instantly, and his avatar almost collapsed. "Heaven," the 7th ancestor of the Universe clan said, "the heaven-destroying magic conch is a heavenly treasure that communicates with the will to destroy the sky. As long as you activate the heaven-destroying magic conch, you can awaken the will to destroy the sky. The 3 great wills of the Great Path can kill an immortal realm master. I didn't expect that the Reizegu people would have such a treasure." He didn't know about the heaven-destroying magic conch, but the immortal realm masters were also shocked and frightened. Lunzhuan Yuanzhu snorted disdainfully. "I'm afraid you've been scared silly by that human. The heaven-destroying magic conch is indeed powerful, but only the immortal realm masters of the Great Thunder Clan can activate it and awaken the will to destroy the sky. That human isn't a cultivator of the great Thunder Clan, and he's just a Daozu. Even if he has the heaven-destroying magic conch, how can he activate it and awaken the will to destroy the sky? The Immortal Realm Masters were stunned, and then they burst into laughter. Su Fang smiled embarrassedly. Luan Huan Yuan Zhu was right. Only the great Thunder Clan Masters could activate the heaven-destroying magic conch and awaken the will to destroy the sky. However, the Reizeigu people's heaven-destroying magic conch was left among the Reizeigu people by the will to destroy the sky to help the Reizeigu people continue their inheritance. As long as they were the inheritors of the original Leijia, they could integrate and activate it. However, moreover, activating the Annihilation Magic Conch was not to awaken the Annihilation Will in the Heavenly Tao, but to awaken the will hidden in the Annihilation Magic Conch. Therefore, activating the Annihilation Magic Conch was much easier than Luan Huan Yuan had imagined. Luan Huan Yuan Zhu stared at the heaven-destroying magic conch with greed in his eyes. Chapter 33:16. Just when the immortals were still coveting the annihilating magic conch, Su Fang activated the annihilating magic conch. Thousands of thoughts gushed out from his palm and poured into the annihilating magic conch. Following using the Madra, the formation inside the annihilating magic conch began to operate. Boom boom, boom. There was a rumbling sound from the annihilating magic conch, and a powerful will began to awaken slowly in the internal space. With the roar of thunder, the power of will spread out from the annihilating magic conch and merged with Su Fang. Su Fang's body trembled, and his aura suddenly rose, surpassing the limit of Daozu, reaching the immortal realm, and then surpassing it, reaching a supreme height. Here the engraved Su Fang was the manifestation of the heavenly way, representing the will of destruction of the heavenly way. The will of destruction of the heavenly way. Su Fang activated the annihilating magic conch and awakened the will of destruction of the heavenly way. Many immortals looked at Su Fang, and a sense of insignificance and humility quickly occupied their whole consciousness. The immortals coexisted with the heavenly way and had the will of the heavenly way, but after all, it was not the heavenly way. In front of the will of destruction of the heavenly way, there was not much difference between them and Daozu and Dao Saint. Since becoming immortals, these immortals had never felt so insignificant, but at this moment, it broke out again uncontrollably. No one was not in awe and no one was not afraid. Run! Luan Zhuan Yuan tried to abandon this thought and escape with his original body in the heavenly way. Oh, I know. Under the will of destruction of the heavenly way, Luan Zhuan Yuan, an immortal realm expert, could not even escape. Die. Su Fang looked at Luan Zhuan Yuan and made a sound of the heavenly way. It was not his voice, but the will of destruction of the heavenly way. No. Luan Zhuan Yuan screamed, and this thought incarnation disappeared in an instant. Die. At the same time, his main body in the Heaven Tao, the numerous clones and avatars in the Grand Tao of Reincarnation, and the myriad of clans in the Chaos had all been annihilated by the Supreme Heaven Destruction Will. They didn't have the slightest ability to resist and didn't leave a trace behind. Palm. Luan Zhuan Yuan, who held the truth of the heavenly way, was easily killed by Su Fang. Just. Luan Zhuan Yuan Zhu was about to be obliterated. Bastard in a weak race called all creation in the depths of chaos, there was a young man in ragged clothes. His cultivation was only at the Tao True Realm, and he was sitting cross-legged on a mountain and cultivating. Huran Little Nian's body trembled as he sensed that something had been erased from the unseen world. In an instant, the shackles on his fate were removed. What happened? It seems like my fate has changed? Young Master Shao asked. Nian frowned and thought hard, but he could not figure out what had happened. In the Luai's original realm, Su Fang looked at the undying fighters. Die, die, die. After saying the word die 31 times, the 31 undying realm warriors all died. Not only the thought incarnation, but also the original body in the heavenly way, as well as the Dharmakaya and incarnation in the heavenly way and the chaotic world, were all obliterated. Of the 56 Daozu, only 24 were left. There were 8 from the Tensei people, 10 from the Gon Yuan race, and 6 undyings from the 13 slave races, including the mist barbarian undyings. Face in the face of true death, these undying realm warriors, who were usually high and mighty, were all trembling in fear and horror. The 7th ancestor of the Tensei people shouted in a trembling voice, "Su Fang, the Tensei people are the upper race of the chaotic world. If you dare to kill us, the 3 king races will be shocked, and the Tensei people will never let you go." Upper race of the chaotic world? Fang sneered disdainfully. The Tensei people only have 9 undyings in total. There are 8 of them here, and one of them must be guarding the Tensei people. If I kill you, the Tensei people will no longer be the upper race of the chaotic world. Who will stand up for you? Go to hell. Su Fang activated his exterminating will and killed the 8 Tensei people, including the Tensei people. Look, Su Fang's decisiveness and ruthlessness shocked the 10 undyings of the Gon Yuan race. Gon Tianshu gritted his teeth and said, "Su Fang, the Gon Yuan race let you down in the past. I apologize to you and swear that the Gon Yuan race will never target you and the human race again. We will end our grudge here." "You don't have to apologize. If I kill all of you, all grudges will naturally end. That way I'll be at ease," Su Fang said indifferently. Gantian Shua's eyes flashed with determination. "The grievances between you and the Gantian race are all because of me. I'm willing to die to resolve your anger and let the other undyings of my race live. When you wantonly bullied me, did you ever think of letting me live?" "No," Su Fang said coldly. "Pooh. Pooh. Gone." The bodies of the 10 undyings of the Yuan race instantly shattered and turned into nothingness. Their true bodies, avatars and avatars were all killed. Gone. In order to kill Su Fang and get the inheritance of the Reizeigu people, the Yuan race and the Tensei people sent out all the undyings except for the undyings who stayed behind to guard the race. They didn't expect that so many undyings would all die in the Leisha original region. Although the 2 high races weren't wiped out, they were no longer the high races of the chaos. They were just ordinary races. "It's your turn now," Su Fang said. He looked at the undyings of the Mist Barbarian race and the other 5 undyings of the 13 slave races. "I'm a slave of the Reizeigu people. I'm willing to lead the entire Mist Barbarian race to serve you forever." The undyings of the Mist Barbarian race trembled as he knelt down and kowtowed to Su Fang. The other undyings of the 13 slave races also knelt down and kowtowed. Su Fang killing 50 undyings scared them out of their wit. Undyings were undying beings and had the same lifespan as the heavenly Tao. Who would want to die just like that? After a moment of silence, Su Fang Weiran said, "Permission granted." Su Fang had the blood talisman and could control the 13 slave races. If he shackled these undyings, he could completely control the 13 slave races. In this way, the overall power of the human race would increase greatly. That was why Su Fang spared the lives of the undyings of the 13 slave races. "Master, thank you for sparing our lives." The 6 undyings were overjoyed and kowtowed to Su Fang again. Su Fang he combined the destructive will with his own willpower and the soul power of the longevity lamp to form an energy seed and put it into the heavenly Tao of the Leisha original region. However, he planted the energy seed into the 6 undyings of the Mist Barbarian race and merged them with the original body in the heavenly Tao of the Leisha original region. The 6 undyings were shackled by Su Fang with the destructive will and the soul power of the longevity lamp. Unless they had the ability to resist the destructive will, they couldn't betray Su Fang. "Go to the 13 slave races and wait for me to send someone to take over," Su Fang said. As he nodded, the destructive will that shrouded the 6 undyings and the original body disappeared. "Master, thank you." The undyings of the mist barbarian race all kowtowed to Su Fong to express their gratitude. Wait. The thought avatars of the 6 immortal realm experts disappeared from the Luai's original realm. The destructive will that enveloped Su Fong also disappeared completely. Whoosh! A figure flew out of the destructive magic conch. The figure was very clear. Su Fong could see his face clearly, but he couldn't remember it at all. The figure was transformed by the destructive will. With Su Fong's current strength, he wasn't qualified to remember his face. The figure nodded slightly to Su Fong, and a bolt of lightning flashed and fell between Su Fong's eyebrows. A thunder god mark appeared between Fong's eyebrows, which was exactly the same as the one on the Reizeigu people's eyebrows. Then the destructive will wrapped around the destructive magic conch and disappeared from the Leisha original region without a trace. Only then did he relax his mind. Then, he staggered and almost fell. His face became as pale as paper, and his aura was weak. He was like a dying man. Activating the heaven-destroying magic conch and carrying the heaven-destroying will had drained his willpower completely. He felt like his spirit was about to dry up. Realm Spirit's figure gradually appeared. His face was full of shock and awe. He bowed to Su Fong with cupped fists. "Congratulations, Your Highness." "Su Fong, congratulations. Not only did you kill 50 undyings and subdue 6 undying slaves, but you also gained the recognition of the destructive will. From now on, you are the true successor of the Reizeigu people. I've finally succeeded. From today onwards, which expert or force would dare to bully me, Su Fong and the human race?" Fong's eyes shone brightly. Even though he was dispirited, he was still in high spirits and was unparalleled in his dominance. Realm Spirit hurriedly sent Su Fong back to the divine origin pool to recover. After recovering slightly, Su Fong let Dongxian Daozu, mother of the dark Tian Su, and the other Daozu people, as well as his family and friends, out of the Dao Palace and into the divine origin pool. "Su Fong, what happened? How did you end up like this?" Seeing Su Fong's weak spirit, everyone was shocked. Su Yaotian, Xuanxin, Goddess Luo, Shu Wanjin, and the other close relatives were all pale and trembling in fear. Many Daozu people remembered Su Fong saying that there were strong people attacking the Leisha original region. Now that they saw Su Fong like this, their hearts sank. There are undyings invading the Leisha original region. Su Fong smiled casually. Everyone's expression changed again. There are a total of 56 undyings from the Qianyuan race, the Tensei people, and other forces. Su Fong's words made everyone despair. Then, some Daozu people's Dao hearts trembled. Some of the weaker ones were so scared that they almost collapsed on the ground. Xie Saint Zhu staggered and asked in a trembling voice, "Su Fong, boy, did you let us out because you want to make arrangements for your death?" Swoosh, 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 swoosh. Furious gazes gathered on Saint Zhu. He was so scared that he trembled again. Su Fong smiled and said, "There are 56 undyings in total. I killed 50 and shackled 6. In an instant, the divine origin pool fell into a deathly silence. Su after a long time. Chapter 33:17. I used the supreme Xian Bao of the Reizeigu people to turn those immortal realm experts into pigs, sheep, and weak chickens. They were either killed or shackled by me." Su Fong smiled faintly. Then he waved his hand and a Xian Guang appeared. It turned into a picture scroll and showed the scene of him suppressing those immortal realm experts. Will outside. Tremor. Difficulty. Disbelief. Madness. Joy. Everyone. Only then did they believe Su Fong's words. Everyone's expression became unusually interesting. They had all kinds of thoughts in their mind. From now on, the human race will stand up among the 10,000 races in the chaos. We will no longer be bullied by other races. It won't be long before the human race can walk out of the Luai's original realm and stand proudly at the top of the 10,000 races. Su Fang's calm voice was filled with unparalleled dominance and loftiness. It reverberated in the divine origin pool like spring thunder. Dongxian Daozu, Daozu the Dark Mother, Tian Su, Beixian Daozu, and other human Daozu of the Jiuxuan God realm of the gods flashed through their mind. The human race had been invaded by other races time and time again. Countless human cultivators had died tragically. Endless humiliation, fear, and despair. It was over. Now. Everything was over. Not only had the human race completely escaped from the calamity and continued to exist, but it would also stand proudly at the top of the 10,000 races. First, Daozu of the human race felt warmth in his heart. Hot tears flowed down his cheeks. My son has grown to such a height. Su Yaotian looked at Su Fang. Hot tears flowed in his eyes. However, a strong sense of pride surged in his heart. He is my sky. I will live under this sky with him and live a peaceful life with him. I will take good care of my son. Xuanxin looked at him. Deep love surged in his cold eyes. Su Fang Luo and the other family members and friends looked at Su Fang. They were very excited and moved. Su Fang, I thank you on behalf of the human race. Daozu took the lead and bowed to Su Fang with cupped fist. Su Fang was about to avoid it when Tian Su said solemnly, "Everything you have done for the human race is worthy of such a big bow." Then Tian Su and the other Daozu of the human race also bowed. Su Fang could only accept the bow from the human Daozu of the human race. Dark Mother Daozu suddenly asked, Su Fang, that old bastard Daozu, Shi Xian. Su Fang said, Origin ancestor Lunjuan was killed by me, and no one can control Master's reincarnation. It Daozu. Master's wife, don't worry. Master is now in his 9th reincarnation. It won't be long before Master returns to the peak. He might even surpass Dao Ancestor and become immortal. Only then did Dao Ancestor Mother, Wine Saint, and the others feel more at ease. Su Fang continued, Next, I'll have to trouble the human Dao Ancestors to lead the foreign Dao Ancestors under my command to the 13 slave tribes and take complete control of them. Controlling a slave race? The eyes of all the human Dao Fathers instantly became incomparably sharp. When they were in the Jiuxuan God realm, they were at most the lords of a god realm. Any one of the 3 slave clans was 10 times or 100 times stronger than the human race. Some of the clans even had undying realm warriors. Now in Su Fang, if they were allowed to control these slave clans, what kind of power would that be? Those human Daozu, who were not greedy for power, were also burning with passion. Not only did he wield the supreme power of the clan, but he also wielded the supreme power of the clan. Man's reason why no one in the clan could surpass the Daozu was not only because they were low-level life forms, but also because they lacked resources. That the resources of these slave tribes were far stronger than that of the human race. Controlling these slave tribes would naturally mean controlling their resources. Using the resources of the slave race, he might have a chance to break through to Undying. This was what all the human Undyings were jealous of. As for the 12 races that once invaded the human race, let them all be exterminated. Fang's expression suddenly changed, and he let out a voice filled with killing intent. It's time to collect the debt of blood from the 12 races. Dongxian Daozu and the other human Daozu also became murderous. Mother Daozu said, Su Fang, I won't go to the 13 slave clans. I'm going to the 10,000 races in the chaos to find the reincarnation of that old bastard Shi Xian and secretly protect him. Teacher's wife, be careful. Su Fang condensed a rune talisman with his mind and gave it to Mother Daozu. If teacher's wife encounters any danger, just tell them my name. I don't think anyone will dare to trouble you. Fang killed 50 Undying Realm warriors. Right now, the 10,000 races must be terrified. Not to mention the normal races, Even the higher races wouldn't dare to provoke him. I can't believe I have to rely on a junior like you to protect me. Mother Daozu smiled bitterly. Next, Su Fang let Realm Spirit send the human Daozu, the other race Daozu, and the selected human cultivators to the 13 slave clans through Leisha Original Sector. Su Fang controlled the blood talismans of the slave clans, which meant he controlled the fate and bloodline of all the slave clans. Just now, he just killed 50 Undying Realm warriors. Who would dare to disobey him? Once he controlled the 13 slave clans, he would attack the 12 races. Once, the Undying Realm warriors of the 12 races that invaded the human world were all killed by Su Fang in Leisha Original Sector. How could they stop the conquest of the human race? After controlling the 13 slave clans and swallowing the 12 races, the overall strength of the human race would skyrocket. The pace of the heaven-defying rise would be unstoppable. Tensei people. 1. The enormous city floated high in the air amidst the chaos. The city was comparable to a small mystic world. The city was bustling, showing the power and prosperity of the higher races. The central divine palace of the city was the center of power of the heavenly Ian race. Floating above the dazzling palace was an ancient bronze bell that was thousands of meters long. This ancient bell was a primordial heavenly treasure that protected the entire Tensei people. It was also the symbol of the Tensei people. All the foreign cultivators who entered the palace, except for the higher races, had to kowtow to the ancient bell 3 times and 9 times before they could enter the palace. At this time, the foreign cultivators who were waiting to enter the palace formed a long line. Some of them were also kowtowing to the ancient bell. Who? Ding, ding, ding. The ancient bell that had been silent for an unknown number of years suddenly let out a solemn sound. At the same time, there was also a hint of sorrow in the sound. That's the death knell of the Tensei people. The death knell will only sound when a leader of the Tensei people dies. I wonder which leader of the Tensei people died suddenly. Countless cultivators looked at the ancient bell in shock. Ding, ding, ding. The ancient bell rang a total of 108 times before it stopped. The sound was still echoing in the city, causing the entire city to be immersed in a sorrowful and desolate atmosphere. The death knell rang 108 times. An immortal realm expert has died. An immortal realm expert of the Tensei people has died. An immortal realm expert coexists with the way of the heavens. How can he die? Everyone was shocked and horrified. Ding! A scream filled with despair and disbelief came from the depths of the palace and echoed in the city. 8 immortal realm experts of the Tensei people have died at the same time. The voice was like thunder that rumbled in the minds of the Tensei people and foreign cultivators. The Tensei people had 9 immortal realm experts in total. 8 of them had died at the same time? Ding! After a long silence, cries of despair sounded from every corner of the palace and the city. Soon, the cries spread to the entire territory of the Tensei people. At this moment, the sky collapsed for the Tensei people. Ding! At the same time that the death knell of the Tensei people sounded. Above the Qianyuan peak of the main branch of the Qianyuan clan, 10 strange blood-colored trigrams suddenly appeared and covered the entire peak. No. Only the Qianyuan peak of the main branch had a blood-colored trigram. The other 12 branches all had the same blood-colored trigram. Even the most ordinary clansman of the Qianyuan clan could tell that the blood-colored trigram was not a good sign. It was an omen of great misfortune. No. Then, voices filled with shock and despair spread across the Qianyuan peak and the entire Qianyuan clan. The 10 immortal realm experts of the Qianyuan clan had all died. Just like the heavenly Ian race, the entire heaven origin race fell into a state of grief. Then, they fell into a state of unprecedented panic and despair. The Tensei people and the Qianyuan clan had brought endless grief and despair to countless clans and cultivators. No one had expected that this day would befall them. No. Only the two chaotic clans. No. The clans and forces of the Immortal Realm experts who had died in the Luai's original sector also received the bad news. No. The Immortal Realm experts were immortal. Now that 50 Immortal Realm experts had died at the same time, how shocking was this? No. The news quickly spread across the chaotic clans and set off an unprecedented storm. 10,000. The entire clan was shocked. Soon, the reason for the death of the Immortal Realm experts was spread. A name that was feared and revered by all the cultivators was remembered by the higher-ups of the clans. Su Fang. 1. The once unknown clan was remembered and feared by all the clans, the human clan. ******* In the divine origin pool. Su Fang sat cross-legged in the space. He had recovered some of his spirit and willpower. News came one after another. No. The human Daofathers who had gone to the 13 slaver clans had all taken control of them. The human cultivators they had brought along with them, as well as the alien Daofathers under Su Fang's command, quickly took control of the vital parts of the 13 slaver clans. No. He had killed 50 Immortal Realm experts and shackled 6 of them. Which slave clan cultivator dared to resist him? At this moment, the human Daozu was reorganizing the 13 slave clans. Next, he would launch a thunder attack on the 12 clans that had once invaded the human world. No. The 12 clans that had destroyed the human race had to either submit and become the human race's slave clans or be exterminated. They had no other choice. The rise of the human race among the myriad clans was imminent and unstoppable. Buzz. Buzz. Su. There was a sudden movement in Fang's body. His eyebrows furrowed as he revealed a mocking smile. Then, he took out a golden token. Positive it was the Hong Meng token. Since, after Su Fang was stripped of all his rights in the Eternal Shrine, the Hong Meng token had become a piece of scrap metal. There had been no movement from it. Unexpectedly, there was movement now. No. Guo Su Fang wasn't surprised. It would be strange if the Eternal Shrine didn't do anything after killing 50 Immortal Realm warriors. Su Fang, come to the Eternal Shrine. I have something to discuss with you. The voice of the Great Thunder Clan came from the Hong Meng token. It was not as cold and majestic as before. Instead, it was polite. Yes. Su Fang smiled awkwardly. Chapter 33:18. Shua. 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 As soon as Su Fang's figure was formed, he was greeted by many shocked and even respectful gazes. This was the 3rd time Su Fang had entered the Eternal Shrine. First, the last time he entered the Eternal Shrine, it was because he had completed the Eternal Heaven Road that he was listed in the Eternal Shrine. Then at that time, in the eyes of many undying beings, Su Fang was a genius with unlimited potential. However, a genius wasn't a great being. At most, he was appreciated by many undying beings. The undying beings above him would never treat him as an equal. First entering the Eternal Shrine for the 2nd time, Su Fang was like a sheep waiting to be judged. Many undying beings looked at him with contempt. However, this time, it was different from the previous 2 times. Su Fang entered the Eternal Shrine with the power of killing 50 undying beings. Those undying beings weren't as arrogant as before. Of course, they didn't know that Su Fang could only use the Annihilation Magic Conch once, and the Annihilation Magic Conch had already been taken back by the Annihilation Will. Those undying beings thought that Su Fang still had a great weapon to kill undying beings. Who wouldn't be respectful and fearful of Su Fang? Su Fang's godly light flashed across the Eternal Shrine, taking in everyone's expressions. He smiled coldly in his heart. The undying beings of the 3 supreme royal clans, the Grand Beginning, the Gold Horn, and the Great Thunder, all showed up and sat in the center with their legs crossed. Then there were undying beings, and all of them were present. Of course, there were 50 undying beings who would never show up in the Eternal Shrine again. Huh! The Great Thunder Undying's gaze fell on Su Fang's forehead. Seeing the Thunder God mark left by the Annihilation Will, his eyes flashed with shock and surprise. The Grand Beginning and Gold Horn Undying beings also saw the god mark on Su Fang's forehead, and their godly light changed slightly. Master! Seeing Su Fang, the Mist Barbarian Undying and the other Undying beings from the 13 slave clans all stood up from their cushions and bowed respectfully to Su Fang. Master? The 6 Undying beings actually treat Su Fang as their master? The Immortal Realm experts were shocked once again. 6 Immortal Realm warriors were willing to submit to one Daozu. How shocking was this? By this also proved that the news of Su Fang killing 50 Undying beings was not false at all. Seeing the expressions of the Undyings, the 6 slave race Undyings who were originally filled with humiliation and unwillingness felt relieved. Bastard, how many Undyings of the primal chaos race could make so many Undyings respect them? Now in his opinion, submitting to Su Fang wasn't such a bad thing. At least he felt a lot better. Su Fang, you've defied the heavens again. Ancestor Ice Soul transmitted his thoughts to Su Fang, his eyes full of shock. Star the Star River Undying of the Space Clan, as well as the other Undying beings, all sent messages to Su Fang, expressing their goodwill. Just as Fangzheng was about to sit in his seat, the Great Thunder Undying suddenly said, "Come to the front. There are many empty seats anyway." Wow! Many Undying beings were shocked. Tian the Universe Clan and the Qian Yuan Clan were high races in the primal chaos, so the Undying beings of these 2 clans were naturally seated at the front of the Eternal Shrine. Tian 18 Undying beings of the Universe Clan had been killed by Su Fang, and now there were only 3 Undying beings left. Naturally, there were many empty seats. Su Fang was arranged to sit in the front by the Great Thunder Undying beings, which meant that not only was Su Fang fine after killing 50 Undying beings, but he was also recognized by the 3 supreme royal races. "Thank you, Master." Su Fang cupped his fists and thanked him. Then he flew slowly to an empty futon in the front row and sat down. Looking at Su Fang sitting on the futon, many Undying beings sighed in their hearts. From now on, Su Fang's position in the Eternal Shrine would be unshakable. Su Fang. Gazes filled with hatred and resentment came from both sides. They were the Undying beings of the Tensei people and the Qian Yuan clan. My 3 Undying beings, have the funerals of the Qian Yuan clan and the Tensei people been settled? Su Fang smiled embarrassedly and replied rudely. The 3 Undying beings of the 2 clans were instantly enraged, their eyes wide open. Enough! The golden-robed Undying being from the Golden Horn clan shouted coldly. Only then did the 3 Undying beings stop. Let's begin the discussion now. The very beginning Undying being said majestically. Only then did the palace quiet down. With the unanimous agreement of the 3 supreme royal races, Su Fang's authority in the Eternal Shrine will be restored. You Undying beings shouldn't have any objections? See? Who dared to go against the will of the 3 supreme royal races? That is, even if they dared to go against the decision of the 3 supreme royal races, how many dared to offend Su Fang? Other than the Tensei people and the Qian Yuan clan, the other Undying beings all nodded in agreement. That is, just like that, Su Fang was once again in the Eternal Shrine. Even though he'd regained what he'd lost, Su Fang's status in the Eternal Shrine right now was incomparable to before. Jean the Horn Undying being looked at Su Fang and said, "The Qian Yuan clan and the Tensei people have complained to the Eternal Shrine that you've killed their Undying beings. Su Fang, what do you have to say?" Killed? When did the Tensei people and the Qian Yuan clan become so pitiful? Su Fang couldn't help but laugh. His disdainful eyes swept past the 2 Undying beings of the 2 Undying beings. Then, he sneered. "First, I killed your clansmen. Then, I killed your concubines, your children, and now, even your Immortal Realm experts are killed by me. You are one of the high races of the primal chaos. How pitiful!" Some Undying beings couldn't help but laugh out loud. Some were exclaiming, finding it unbelievable. The high race of the chaos had been reduced to this state by a Daozu. It was unbelievable. Su Fong looked at the three undying beings and said coldly, "Where did I kill the undying beings of the two undying beings? Leisure original sector. Why did the undying beings of the two undying beings enter Leisure original sector? They attacked Leisure original sector and tried to kill me and steal my inheritance. Can't I kill them?" Under Su Fong's interrogation, the undying beings of the Qian Yuan clan and the Tensei people were speechless. No, it was because Su Fong was in the right. It was because Su Fong had the ability to kill undying beings. Otherwise, what was the point of being reasonable? To the Thunder undying being said, "The Qian Yuan clan and the Tensei people suggest that the Eternal Shrine suppress Su Fong. Let's start the discussion now." As soon as he finished, the Eternal Shrine went silent. Suddenly, the Great Thunder undying being said, "Su Fong has been recognized by the exterminating sky willpower. From now on, he's part of the Great Thunder clan, which means he's from my clan." Su Fong wasn't surprised at all. He nodded and smiled at the Great Thunder undying being. Many undying beings looked at Su Fong with a different expression. Their respect for him grew stronger. Decided the result of the discussion was as expected. Other than the three undying beings of the Qian Yuan clan and the Tensei people, no undying beings agreed. Everyone kicks a man who's down. Last time, the Qian Yuan undying being suggested to take away everything Su Fong had in the Eternal Shrine. They threatened him in front of everyone, and no one dared to object. How domineering and arrogant was that? Now it was the complete opposite. Many undying beings felt sorry for the two upper races. Gold the Horn undying being said, "The proposal is rejected. If there's nothing else, the discussion ends here." Suddenly, Su Fong suddenly said, "Lord, I have a suggestion too." The Gold Horn undying being nodded, "Speak." Su Fong pointed at the three undying beings of the Qian Yuan clan and the Tensei people. The two clans joined forces with other undying beings to attack the Leisure original sector for no reason. Hence, I suggest to the Eternal Shrine that the Qian Yuan clan and the Tensei people should compensate me for my losses. Su Fong, you've gone too far. The three undying beings of the two clans shouted angrily. After killing so many undying beings of the two clans, they were now asking for compensation. How domineering was that? Fong, it was the Tensei people and the Qian Yuan clan who bullied the other clans. Now they were the ones being bullied. How could they not be angry? Su Fong sneered and looked at the three undying beings aggressively. "I, Su Fong, have gone too far. So what?" The Great Thunder undying being said, "Since Su Fong suggested it, let's vote. We should compensate you." As soon as he finished, the 6 undying beings of the 13 slave clans agreed. Ice-Old Ancestor Soul and the undying being of the space race also agreed. However, after that, the undying beings of the other clans voted. Except for the 3 undying beings of the Tensei people and the Qian Yuan clan, no one objected or abstained. An elder of the Qian Yuan clan shouted, "Su Fong, as long as I'm here, don't even think about getting a single pill from the Qian Yuan clan." Su Fong said indifferently, "If you're not willing to compensate, then I, Su Fong, will have to bring my men to get it myself." The undying being of the Qian Yuan clan trembled. This, although Su Fong wasn't an undying being, he had 6 undying beings under his command and a supreme treasure that could kill undying beings. He was also recognized by the Great Thunder clan. The 2 clans had suffered great losses, and their overall strength had fallen to a low point. Naturally, there was no lack of people who would kick a man when he was down. In addition, the 2 clans were enemies in the past. At that time, the 2 clans wouldn't be far from extinction. Shua, the remaining undying being of the Tensei people, sighed helplessly. The Tensei people are willing to compensate. An undying being of the Yuan clan also agreed helplessly. This is the loss of the Thunder Domain. The 2 clans will compensate accordingly. Su Fong took out 2 jade scrolls and flew them to the undying beings of the 2 clans. After reading the list of compensation in the Jade Scrolls, the undying beings of the two clans were shocked. The resources that Su Fang had asked for from the two upper clans were equivalent to 1/3 of the resources of the two clans. Now, the Tensei people and the Qian Yuan clan were going to lose a lot. Although it was hard to accept, but they had to. The two clans were destined to decline. No matter how much resources they had, they wouldn't be able to protect them. That's all for today. Su Fang stays. The rest of you can leave, said the Great Thunder Being. The undying beings of the Golden Horn clan and the Great Thunder Domain left, along with the other undying beings. The Great Thunder Being looked at Su Fang and nodded with a smile. I can see that you're about to become Undying Being. You should focus on becoming Undying Being. As for your race, the Great Thunder Being will protect them. With the promise of the Great Thunder Being, Su Fang felt relieved. With the protection of the Great Thunder Being, it meant that the status of the human race among the 10,000 clans in the chaos would be unshakable. It was only a matter of time before the human race rose among the 10,000 clans. Although you're only one step away from Undying Being, there's still a long way to go before you can truly become Undying Being. Besides, Undying Being isn't the end of the Great Path. When you become Undying Being, come to the Great Thunder Being. We'll guide you to the true peak. After the Great Thunder Being finished, his body blurred and disappeared from the Eternal Palace. The Undying Being isn't the peak of the Great Path? Su Fang thought for a while. He wasn't surprised at all. 9. The 8th level of the mysterious Infinite Sutra was the Undying Being. And there were 9 levels of the Jiuxuan Infinite Sutra, which meant there was a higher level than Undying Being. The path of cultivation is endless. But I don't care about anything now. I'll leave everything behind and accompany my father, Xuanxin, Goddess, Sister Wanjin, and my son, Su. Chapter 33:19. In the space-time of the Divine Origin Pool, Su Fang was immersed in cultivation. Unknowingly, countless years had passed. His aura became more and more illusory. He was about to merge with the heavenly Tao at any time. Slowly he opened his eyes. I'm about to ascend to the undying realm, Su Fang murmured to himself. His eyes were filled with vicissitudes and transcendence. His realm, cultivation, and state of mind had all reached the undying realm. Next, it was time to entrust the heavenly Tao to ascend to the undying realm and step onto the endless peak. Tordrealm Spirit transmitted his thoughts. Lord Realm Spirit. Realm Spirit appeared from the void and quickly condensed into a human form. Bright divine light wrapped around Su Fang. He exclaimed in surprise, Your Highness Su Fang, you're about to entrust the heavenly Tao to ascend to the undying realm? He was delighted. The test of the 9th heaven of the Luai's original realm is to ascend to the undying realm and merge with the Luai's original realm. From then on, you'll become the true master of the Luai's original realm. It seems that I'm finally waiting for my master. Su Fang smiled faintly. I'm entrusting the heavenly Tao. There will be a long period of nirvana before I can awaken my will from the heavenly Tao. Lord Realm Spirit, please take care of my family, friends, and many humans in the Luai's original realm. Your Highness Su Fang, don't worry. Leave everything to me. You don't have to worry about anything. Your ascension this time is just like sleeping. When you wake up, you'll be a supreme undying realm. An undying realm existence surpassed all limits of life. They broke free from all shackles and entrusted themselves to the illusory heavenly Tao. They coexisted with the heavenly Tao and were immortal. However, after entrusting oneself to the heavenly Tao, there would be an extremely long period of nirvana. It was like sleeping. When I wake up, it'll be short for me, but it'll take at least a few eras. The outside world will change, Su Fang sighed with emotion. It's time to say goodbye to my family, Su Fang said. Fang didn't want to alarm his family when he left and increase his sadness. He used the power of the Luai's original realm to project his senses. The human race was divided into 2 parts. One part of them lived in the Luai's original realm, while the other part entered the chaos. They had already taken root. Man, the human race, controlled the 13 serval races, swallowed up the 12 races, and obtained the astonishing resources of the eternal race and Qianyuan race. In addition, they also had the inheritance of the Thunder Luster original world. With such abundant resources, the human race's development speed over the years had exceeded Su Fang's imagination. As the number of cultivators increased and the overall strength of the cultivators increased rapidly, the human race's bloodline and life force were also constantly transforming. The power of perception swept across the eighth heaven. Master Dongxian and Lord Tiansu have hopes of ascending to immortality as well. Fang smiled in relief. Yixin Daozu and Tian Su from Heaven's Fate stage were both top figures among the human Daozu. After so many years of accumulating resources, they all had the chance to become immortal. However, they still needed a long time to settle down. Takei sensed that the Wine Saint and the other Dao Saints in the 7th layer of heaven were also in seclusion, trying to break through to the Daozu realm. Hung with abundant resources and the heaven-span Dao fruits, it wouldn't be long before the human race's Daozu sprouted like bamboo shoots after a spring rain. Su Fang's gaze softened as he focused his power of perception on an independent dimension in the depths of the 6th layer of heaven. Look! His father Su Yaotian, Xuanxin, goddess Luo Shu Wanjin, his grandfather's reincarnation, Su Chen, the Fang family members, Qingyu, Bailing, Luo Yu. Now there were 2 more people who were close to him. After the resolution of the Eternal Temple, Su Fang reunited with his family for 10,000 years. During this time, goddess Luo and Shu Wanjin finally got their wish and continued Su Fang's bloodline. Shu Wanjin gave birth to a son, while goddess Luo gave birth to twin daughters. Like Su Xianyun, Su Fang's 3 children were currently cultivating in the lower 3 heavens of the Luai's original realm. Seeing that his family members were safe and sound, living a happy and comfortable life, Su Fang could finally let go of all his worries. Also, he saw his friends and subordinates, who had been following him since the Pan Tsang universe's microcosm. The Lord of 5 Poisons, Li Haojie, Emperor Zhu, Tongtian, Zhang Ruoyun, Lan Haiqing. Only Xiao Mei-er's aura was absent. Su Fang sighed. Xiao Mei-er reincarnated in the Luai's original realm. I don't know how many reincarnations she has experienced. With Su Fang's current strength, he could resurrect the dead, reverse time, and change the past and future. However, he could not change Xiao Mei-er's mind. She insisted on not accepting the divine grace bestowed by Su Fang. Her cultivation had always been at the height of the Pan Tsang universe. Millions of years ago, she reached the end of her lifespan. In the end, she died naturally and entered the cycle of reincarnation. Xiao Mei-er was Su Fang's first woman. Her ending became the only regret in Su Fang's heart. However, this was her choice, and Su Fang could not force it. Then, he sensed the middle 3 heavens and the lower 3 heavens. He found his son and daughters and saw the prosperous scene of the human race. However, he did not sense his eldest son, Su Xianyun. Early a million years ago, Su Xianyun ascended to the 4th heaven and became a Dao True Realm immortal. After knowing his identity, Su Xianyun did not want to stay in the Luai's original realm. He directly went to the Chaos 10,000 races to explore and train. It's time to leave. Su Fang sighed slightly. Putting down his family, friends, subordinates, and the entire human race in the Luai's original realm, his body began to blur, and his aura began to gradually fall into a state of silence. In the end, Su Fang disappeared without a trace from the Luai's original realm and merged into the ethereal heavenly Tao. In an instant, Su Fang's consciousness used the heavenly Tao to cover the endless chaos in an instant. His consciousness swept across the Jiuxuan divine realm. A large number of humans had returned to the human world, to the origin of the human race. The Jiuxuan divine realm, which was almost destroyed, was no longer a desolate place. Among the chaos 10,000 races, Su Fang also saw the profound worlds established by human cultivators, as well as the human forces that had infiltrated and integrated into the chaos 10,000 races. At this moment, although the human race's overall strength was not as good as the chaos 10,000 races, their status was vaguely above the chaos 10,000 races. When human cultivators faced foreign races, they were no longer as humble and fearful as before. Instead, they held their heads high, and no matter where they went, they were superior. That was because the human race had a powerful backer who was superior to ordinary immortal realm expert. Other than the three supreme royal races, who dared not to be respectful. Su Fang's consciousness, which had merged into the heavenly Tao, suddenly sensed a very familiar aura of destiny. With a thought, he instantly arrived at the location of the aura of destiny. Boom! Boom! In the chaotic void, tribulation clouds rolled, and tribulation thunder shook the sky. It turned out that a foreign race cultivator was undergoing a tribulation. No, it was an ordinary tribulation, but a Daozu tribulation. No, moreover, it was a tribulation 10 times or even 100 times more powerful than an ordinary Daozu tribulation. It could be seen that the cultivator undergoing the tribulation would have astonishing achievements in the future. It was a young cultivator who looked like he was only 18 years old. His appearance was similar to that of a human cultivator, but his aura was extremely strange. It was sometimes formless and traceless, and sometimes it was ever-changing. At this moment, he was constantly releasing his thoughts, which transformed into light wheels, shattering the tribulation clouds. The divine ability that this cultivator was using was the formless heavenly wheel. Shixien Daozu, the 9th reincarnation. Master's 9th reincarnation is also about to ascend to Daozu. If nothing unexpected happens, Master will definitely surpass Daozu and become immortal, Su Fang said. Fang sensed the aura of Shixien Daozu's 9th reincarnation and naturally deduced his fate. He was sincerely happy for Shixien Daozu. In the void far away from where Shixien Daozu's 9th reincarnation was undergoing the tribulation, a black shadow stared at Shixien Daozu from afar. It was Dark Mother Daozu. After searching for Shixien Daozu for so many years, she finally got what she wanted. I hope that after Master's memories of his past reincarnation are awakened, he can be with Mistress forever. Su Fang felt like a boulder had been lifted from his heart. His consciousness gradually blurred. Only there was still a trace of concern in his heart that could not be cut off. It made it difficult for him to completely merge into the heavenly Tao. Su Xianyun. Seeing his son Su Xianyun, Su Fang naturally could not bear to part with him. Following Su Xianyun's fate, Su Fang's consciousness sensed the location of his aura in a flash. A foreign race cultivator controlled the spacetime. A black and red Xian Guang surged out of the void and turned into an ancient mirror. Receive a figure flashed out of the ancient mirror. It was Su Xianyun. At this time, he already had the cultivation of Tao Profound Realm. However, his aura was weak and his body was covered in wounds. He was actually in a heavily injured state. Just as soon as he appeared, figures with monstrous killing intent charged out of the void. It was a dozen foreign race Daozu. You dare to break into my Imperial Hun family and kill the only undying seedling of my race. The leading Daozu peak expert looked at Su Xianyun and let out a voice full of killing intent. The Imperial Hun family was one of the upper races of the chaos. Its strength was not weaker than the Tensei people and the Qian Yuan race of the past. Su Xianyun's face was arrogant. He shouted domineeringly, "That Imperial Hun brat dared to capture a female cultivator of my human race and use her as a breeding tool. He deserves to die. Do you know who you have just killed?" The alien Dao ancestor roared with a murderous look on his face. Su Xianyun smiled. "Whoever dares to offend my human race, No matter who he is, he will be killed. The leading foreign race Daozu sneered. Madman, you killed the only son of my race's undying. The Imperial Hun family will not only skin you and pull out your tendons, but also wipe out your entire race. Su Xianyun sneered. I'm a human cultivator. Do you plan to wipe out the human race? The human race. Some of the alien Dao ancestors' eyes flickered, and a look of fear appeared in their eyes. The Imperial Hun family, Daozu said coldly. The Imperial Hun family may not be able to wipe out the human race, but they can kill you and your family. Kill my family? Su Xianyun touched the tip of his nose and chuckled. My family is even more impossible for the Ho Imperial clan to kill. The other Imperial Hun family experts all laughed. Su Xianyun smiled embarrassedly. My father is Su Fong. You can go and kill him. Su Fong. Who is Su Fong? Ah! It's the human race's Su Fong. The Daozu of the Imperial Hun family sneered at first, but then he thought of something. He trembled and his face turned pale. Suddenly, a majestic voice suddenly sounded in the sky. That unfilial son of mine should have died long ago. It's his great fortune to die in the hands of young Master Su Xianyun. Not only did you not thank young Master Su, but you also chased after him. How dare you? I'm so angry. Go back. The Imperial Hun family experts were all stunned. That the owner of the voice was a supreme immortal of the Imperial Hun family. Su Xianyun was also stunned. He sighed in his heart. Father's face is still useful. Even the immortal realm experts are afraid of him. It seems that I have to change my identity and find a new place to train. Father, one day I will no longer need your protection. I will even surpass you and release the peerless edge that belongs to me, Su Xianyun. In the ethereal heavenly Tao, Su Fong's consciousness sensed this scene and smiled. There was no longer a trace of concern in his heart. At the same time, there were no fetters and shackles. After the three corpses merged into one, the last obsession in his heart was completely put down. I don't need to worry about my family and the human race anymore. I can go in peace. When I wake up, I will become an immortal realm expert and go to the great Thunder Clan to reach the peak. Fong gradually lost his consciousness and completely merged with the heavenly Tao. Su